Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. And for my continued followers, I want to say thank you. And I have this YouTube channel and TikTok channel to talk about interesting scenarios that are taking place throughout our country and our world, whether they're crime stories or other stories that are for informational purposes only. It is an opinion based channel, and with many people having very busy lives with work and children, sometimes you don't get a chance to look at some of these national headline stories on the news. So I try to sift through many stories and find some that I find particularly interesting, odd, and could be a learning tool to make sure that you, me, or we don't get caught up in this crazy chasm we call life sometimes. So I want to give you one right out of Minnesota that recently happened. And it goes like this. Woman accused of swapping places with twin sister after fatal crash kills two children. Prosecutors allege Samantha Jo Peterson, 35, drove a vehicle while under the influence of drugs and alcohol and rear-ended a horse-drawn carriage in Minnesota last year. Her twin, Sarah Beth Peterson, initially told officers at the scene she was at fault for the crash, which took place on September 25th of last year. Wilma Miller, 7, and Irma Miller, 11, were killed in the incident. Their siblings, aged 9 and 13, were seriously injured and taken to the hospital. Authorities said in a criminal complaint filed in the state's district court that both sisters were at the scene of the crash in Stewartville when officers arrived. They added that after speaking to Sarah Peterson in his vehicle, in the officer's vehicle, he spoke to Sarah. Follow me on this. When Samantha is the one that caused the accident. They added, after speaking to Sarah Peterson in his vehicle, a deputy recorded her telling Samantha that there's no way they would ever know the difference between the two of us, so they can't tell. So Samantha has the accident, and then Sarah's going to take the rap for her. Police also allege Samantha Peterson called her place of work, her human resources department, after the incident, where she said, "I effed up. I just killed two Amish people. They were kids. I hit a effing buggy. I'm not sober." So Samantha called her job in the middle of Sarah and Samantha swapping stories and saying that Sarah was the driver and not Samantha, but Samantha was the driver who was high on drugs and drunk. They also found various online searches on Samantha Peterson's phone, including what happens if you get in an accident with an Amish buggy and kill two people, and how to lock an iPhone cops have. Samantha Peterson has been charged 21 times, including for criminal vehicular homicide and leaving the scene of a crash, and will appear in court March 25th of this month. The complaint noted she was previously convicted of drunk driving in October 2015 and of impaired driving under a controlled substance in August of 2018. So Samantha has a little history of arrest, driving under the influence on two separate occasions in 2015 and 2018. So she has a criminal history of getting in trouble. Sarah Peterson, once they found out that Sarah lied and was not the driver and was taken up for Samantha, Sarah Peterson has been charged 16 times, according to Fox News, including for aiding and abetting and trying to take responsibility for a crime. So police spent months building the case before announcing charges. Samantha Peterson also, who this is the young lady, the twin that committed the crime, had an expired driver's license and no insurance for her silver Toyota 4Runner at the time of the crash, according to court documents obtained by Fox News. Sarah was on the scene a short time before their first deputy had arrived. So this is how they swapped. He said in television and in a televised remarks. That allowed them to come up with this story when Sarah would take responsibility for the crash and start to mislead the investigation from that very point. Detectives concluded the driver had a clear view for 1,452 feet before the crash. So she could clearly see this Amish buggy before she ran into it. And there were no obstructions. According to court documents, Sarah told police she was a driver and that she hit the buggy when it was actually Samantha. Sarah had and they're saying the reason why Sarah tried to take this crash incident and this case for Samantha is because Sarah said Sarah had recently been in prison as well. So both of these twins have gotten in trouble, according to the filings. And Sarah may have felt she owed her sister a favor for taking care of her kids while she was locked up. Responding officers allegedly found, when they got there, a couple of burnt marijuana blunts and a tin can of pot in the crashed vehicle. And investigators later found evidence that she was also using methamphetamine. Samantha. So here's a situation where a woman runs into a Amish buggy, fatally kills 2 young children. Her sister is there before the police get there. I don't know if they were in the car together. And Samantha committed the accident. Sarah takes charge of the accident and says she was the driver because Samantha was drunk and high on drugs, and makes a statement in the deputy's vehicle, not knowing that it was being recorded. And Sarah says to Samantha that they won't know the difference because we look exactly alike. And then also you got to remember that Samantha got scared initially, called her work, which is being recorded, and told the HR department that she had effed up and had killed 2 young Amish kids in a buggy while driving. So there's recordings of them coming up with this storyline and doctoring and lying to police on a fatal crash, which are extremely serious charges. Of course, this Amish family will never be the same. And Sarah and Samantha are in a world of trouble. Twins come into this world together, and I guess these 2 twins are going to go to jail together. This is an unfortunate incident that took place in Minnesota. They're going to court here in March, and I thought it would be a good story to talk about for what we can learn. If you're drinking and having a good time, you probably should not be driving. It's against the law, and it can end in a very dangerous and fatal situation, which is what took place here. So these 2 young ladies have had a history of legal problems, both Samantha and Sarah. I guess they didn't learn from their previous mistakes. We have to manifest our truth in the right direction. Look in the mirror and and what you see in the mirror is what you get. And if it's something you need to change it immediately. These 2 young ladies are 35 years old. They're way too old not to know the difference between right and wrong. And they ended up, these 2 ladies are going to end up going to prison as a result of these 2 kids dying in this car crash. Tell me what you think. This is a case of 2 twins swapping each other, doing a fatal crash of 2 Amish kids. Unfortunate situation. This has been the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth in a positive, righteous, and God-fearing way.